Messiah Manic comes out and tries to define a bit where the boundaries of science lie. And in so defining these boundaries, he hopes to demonstrate the implausibility, show the implausibility of Plantinga's theory. Let's back up and just analyze Plantinga. I'm biking home from work here, so just pedal biking as I speak. Have to bear with my windedness. Plantinga's notion that really there's a fundamental or ontic incompatibility with Darwinian theory and naturalism insofar as the truth functional status of the statement that survivability produces true beliefs or justified true beliefs is nil or indifferent. So in other words, there isn't a positive truth value that results from an inquiry which would seek to determine the truth functionality of the statement that surviving in a Darwinian context, in just a strictly natural context without any divine intervention whatsoever, that sort of survival does not necessarily produce true beliefs, or the statement that it does produce true beliefs is truth functionally zero. Well, let's unpack this a little bit. The Plantinga is arguing that traditional Darwinism, or really I think it would probably include punctiliar equilibrium theory by Stephen Jay Gould from Harvard, that sort of evolutionary theory does not seem to depend on a subject making accurate or true observations of an object. So the subject-object continuum is out of whack in terms of its epistemology. We don't know whether or not we have true beliefs just because we have survived a particular situation, a difficult situation in life. And of course we can imagine back in the evolutionary ages needed to produce various species, it's hard to visualize that just the surviving of a particular species means that that species has somehow attained to true beliefs about themselves, about the environment, etc. So Messiah Manic comes up with so if one takes the approach that science doesn't really grant or confer certainty in its propositions, then who's to say that we really have true beliefs? Well, there are a few problems with Manic's approach here to refute Plantinga's argument. One of those happens to lie in the whole idea of uncertainty or probability. We can't have uncertainty and probability about all beliefs. Even the belief that all statements are probable is itself has to be taken to with some degree of certainty. If that statement is merely probable, then we don't even know if all statements or propositions are merely probable. So this is a type of self-refuting statement in a sense, and I'm not entirely sure that Manic realizes this as he's composing his video response. The second major issue that I see with this approach, this argumentative approach, is that we are already dealing with an accumulated body of scientific knowledge. So we can say, well, given this number of observations and the theory which resulted, which we're in with the benefit of hindsight now able to see was flawed and hence merely probable, so this particular theory did not encompass all of the data. That sort of certainty, if you will, we only have from hindsight. We don't necessarily have that a priori. So if we don't know that a current body of scientific literature, current body, is in fact probable, then obviously we don't know that what future bodies of scientific knowledge will encompass or will be. So we don't know. They may have a truth value unbeknownst to us. So it seems very tenuous then to use our current understanding of scientific theory and project that onto all instances of scientific theory that have been tried and tested and come out to be merely probable. Another manner in which this approach seems to be self-defeating or self-refuting would be to examine it on a Cartesian basis. When one had encountered adversity as an individual or as a species and had survived, would not one be absolutely certain of self-existence? The fact that one encountered the obstacle, adversity, famine, plague, whatever, and had survived. Another issue with Manic's discussion or argument is in the area of certain statements that he makes that lead you to believe that due to the probabilistic nature of the entire scientific enterprise or cognition, let us call it science cognition, and its limitations, due to these limitations at times he would lead us to believe that, well, science, due to this restrictive probability, doesn't even know the boundaries of, well, when a statement is scientific and when it's metaphysical or ontological, or whether it has to do with ultimate truth or not. But yet at other times, Manic is quite certain, apparently, that in fact science knows exactly where the supernatural lies, where a scientist might unlawfully depend upon the dictum of a theology or a metaphysical statement that goes beyond the confines of science. Well, if a scientist can truly tell this, then certainly he has more than merely probable knowledge. The scientist, in this case, according to Manic's view anyway, would know quite where he would be out of bounds in making a theological attribution or a religious attribution or a supernatural attribution when a natural one would justly take its place. So certainly more than just probability is required for making such assessments, such cognitive and epistemological assessments. And I think, honestly, if Manic thought about this a little bit more, I believe that he would agree. Thank you.